This day and age of the COVID virus, the superintendent of any school district pilots the plane, making sure that the students get the education that they really need, even though sometimes they can't be in school. Today, we have David Woods from the Oxford Area School District with us. He'll be with me, and you're on point. And once again, thank you for joining us here on Point. And we are here talking with David Woods, Superintendent of Schools for the Oxford Area School District. David, thank you for being with us here on Point. Since last March, has anything been new or interesting in your life, David? Huh?
Well, thank you for having me, Ken. I'm here at the Oxford Area School District Administrative Building, and we've been, I guess the quote would be, building the plane as we're flying it here since March of 2020.
There you go. Building the plane while it's in the air. There's the analogy that I was searching for earlier this morning. All right. So let's jump off from that point. What are the main challenges? As if I don't already know, but please you tell me, at least from the Oxford perspective, what are the main challenges that you have besides staying sane?
Well, Ken, as you know, there was no playbook for this. To our earlier discussions, there was no coursework or graduate, undergraduate level coursework in teaching in a pandemic. But what I can say is that engagement with our students has been probably the main challenge. We were really well suited in the Oxford Area School District for a virtual or a hybrid education plan that we're running. As far as the equipment, the technology, the bandwidth, etc. But one of the components that we have to continue to work on is the actual student engagement when they're not in the classroom. That's something that we've gotten better at, but it's something that we'll need to get better at going forward in this pandemic education environment.
I was talking to another superintendent recently, and he said, and I'd be interested in your reaction to this, he said that the pandemic has really exposed the strengths and weaknesses of the school system. In other words, the people who are really in your corner, you really know who those people are. And the people who aren't in your corner, you really know who those people are.
So I would agree with that. When we look at the strengths currently coming out of this, let me go back. The strengths of our in-person instruction, the strengths of our hybrid instruction, and the strengths of our virtual instruction. Obviously, the strengths of our in-person instruction is that we have the kids in the classes every day in full 5 days a week. And we supplement and utilize technology and our digital learning platforms along with our professional teaching strategies that we utilize to get the best education to the kids possible. So we still use some of those professional strategies in the hybrid learning, which at Oxford looks like half of the students in the classroom socially distanced and the other half at home learning in real time from that classroom. And I guess that was one of the strengths of our program, is that students received instruction right now 5 days a week, both at home and in the classroom. But the weakness of that is, as I alluded to before, keeping the students at home engaged. And one of the hurdles that we had to overcome was there wasn't any teacher that we had on staff that was experienced in teaching in that dual modality type of environment in the classroom. So they had to learn as they were teaching how to keep those students engaged, both in the classroom while they're teaching and also virtually at home. And they've done an incredible job on that learning curve to keep both parties, if you will, engaged at the same time. But obviously there are pitfalls to that when somebody's camera doesn't work at home, or their internet slows down so that they are getting the pops and the bleeps and the freezes in the camera. So the teachers have done their best to work around and provide and deliver the instruction, but it's not perfect. It's not like when students are actually in the classroom. So coming full circle to the question, we have parents and guardians at home that, they don't like the situation that the educational environment is presenting right now. But I believe by and large, they understand that we're in a safety first culture. So we don't want to spread the virus throughout the school district and the community. We want to make sure that we're being as safe as we can. So that's kind of one of the drawbacks, and that's probably the most complaints, if you will, that I hear about the virtual instruction. The strengths, that's really going forward. What have been the most positive things that have come out of this? And that's the acceleration of the use of digital resources and technology, and the different ways that teachers can continue to provide instruction when students can't be in the classroom. I heard a colleague of mine the other day say snow days are going to be a thing of the past. I don't necessarily agree with that, because I believe there's a certain positive thing about a young child and a snow day, the excitement, getting out there and playing in the snow and just enjoying themselves. But there's a point there to that we can provide anytime, any place, a robust education for a child. Say they go on vacation with their parents for 2 or 3 weeks. They could engage in the classroom in real time moving forward. And we have that in the Oxford Area School District. We have students that travel internationally for 30, 45 days. Prior to this pandemic teaching style, they didn't get a lot of education when they were traveling. Now we can provide that. So that's a positive coming out. There's been a lot of good things coming out, and there's been areas that we have to work on, and we have worked on to make sure it's seamless.
David, as you well know, there are a lot of people who still subscribe to this industrial model for education. And a lot of people still look at it like, well, at the factory, they can stamp out widgets so many per hour. And so schools should be able to stamp out all these wonderful students, so many per year or every 4 years, whatever. But we're dealing with human beings, and there's the human factor. And so since there's the human factor, you can't deny, and it's no fault of yours or the teachers or anything, you have this wonderful technology that's being geared up to meet the needs of the students, but the human factor right now isn't there. So the kids can't deal and engage with guidance counselors. They can't engage with that wonderful teacher who's going to say, Johnny, Judy, this is what you should be thinking of doing 2-3 years from now. This is the kind of college that you should go to. So whatever I just said, what are your thoughts?
So I agree with you 100%. If we drop back even out of the high school of planning for post-secondary, we just drop back to social learning and emotional learning. And that's what, we're virtual today, and I'm looking into a camera on my laptop, but I'm not getting a lot of social emotional feedback from the classroom, from my counselors, from my teachers. And that's one of the real pitfalls of this type of digital education, if you will, because Students have those needs, and differentiate, as you said, a human being from a widget. That's the difference, the social and emotional needs. Now, moving forward, and currently, our district is looking at ways to increase our presence with our counselors, actually increasing the number of counselors that we have, so that they can reach out in a digital format and talk to the students that may be struggling, may have attendance issues virtually, may have some type of emotional issue that they've expressed to their teacher. But when we have them in the building, our counselor ratio, let's say 1 to 200, they're able to meet the needs of those students, barely, but they're able to meet the needs of those students with that ratio. We need to decrease that ratio, if you will, and we have plans to do that, of hiring more counselors, so that we may be at something like, in a building at any given time, 1 to 100 in the short term going forward, because we know and we've witnessed that those social and emotional needs aren't being met. And when you don't meet the social and emotional needs of a child, it's very difficult to learn on a day-to-day basis, because of whatever that need may be is getting in the way, is a pitfall to the actual learning.
I'm sure that if we wanted to right now, you and I together could start rattling off a list of various problems dealing with instruction. The list could be very, very extensive, and you'd fall asleep then, and I'd fall asleep, and the audience would fall asleep, because it would just go on. But beyond the instructional concerns that you have, what else is a problem, or problems that you have running the school district in this pandemic?
So I never would categorize anything as a problem, Ken. It's just an opportunity to overcome something. Right, it's an opportunity. And we've had a lot of opportunities since March. Food delivery. Our food services people have done a wonderful job in making sure that at times the community, currently the students are being fed, because not all of them are in person every day. The social part of the education, the athletics, the theater, the fine arts, the music, all of those things, we can't have gatherings, mass gatherings. So, what were ways that students could still show their progress in these fine arts, and they've done that virtually to a degree, through the same type of platform that you and I are on today. They may play an instrument for a tryout at home. It's recorded, and then the instructor on the other end somehow gives them not a grade, but gives them an opportunity to move forward in this social club, like National Music Honor Society, for example. There's been a lot of issues. Let's just say our public meetings with the school board of directors. We have at least two public meetings a month, and they have all been virtual since March. Initially there were some opportunities to overcome with those public meetings. Just having the public able to provide input to those meetings, and our members being able to have dialogue at those meetings. And that's running somewhat smoothly right now. The sourcing of materials for personal protective equipment. Initially, it was very difficult to get things like hand sanitizer, masks, cleaning materials, because we didn't know what would not necessarily neutralize the coronavirus. Well, those things have all been solved, and obviously industry has ramped up PPE and the sanitizer, et cetera. And so those were some items that we've overcome since March. And I guess really some of the biggest items were just human nature. Humans want to talk with each other and interact with each other. And it's the same place it's the same for a workplace environment. The keeping of 6 feet of social distance at all times. The wearing of masks. Now I'm in a closed environment right now, but normally this is the look when I'm not in an enclosed environment, or I'm working with people at a six foot distance. So making sure that we're wearing the masks and we're keeping the social distance, and we're continuing to utilize proper hygiene, whether it be washing hands or using hand sanitizer, making that commonplace throughout the workday. That wasn't easy at first, and it's become second nature now. It's become the new normal in our environment.
So many points to consider, and as you alluded to earlier on, when you were in graduate school, there weren't any courses entitled Education 650, Teaching in a Pandemic. That would have made it easy if you would have had a playbook that say, oh, first you do this, and then you do that, and then you do that. Didn't exist. So you had to, as you say, build the airplane while you're in the air, always keeping an eye on what's best for the students, what's best for the community, what's best for the county, and so on and so forth. Best for the staff. This goes on and on. So David, when this virus goes away on one bright sunshiny day in Oxford, and the all clear whistle blows, and Dr. Fauci is smiling and dancing in Washington, D.C., what will we have taken away? What are the positives? And we have to dig deep and find the positives, because we can't let this situation go to waste. There's been too many hard times, too many problems. We have to be able to have learned something from this experience. What do you think, Superintendent?
When we had our last meeting, I believe I said the strength of the Oxford area school district are the people, the community, the staff. And the takeaway is that while at times it wasn't easy, in the end, the community, the professional staff, the support staff, the administrative staff, and again, our board of school directors, they were able collectively to overcome all of the obstacles and the resiliency that they showed throughout this process. Again, there was no playbook for it. At one point, and to a degree even right now, daily changes. Right now, they're more like weekly changes. So they roll with it. They're able to while maybe not accept everything, they're able to understand that this is the way forward. This is the way out of this pandemic, and the resiliency of our community and our stakeholders has been fabulous. I'm not saying there aren't some negatives, but those negatives existed prior to the pandemic. We're just very fortunate to have a community that deeply cares about the education of their children, about the socialization and emotional needs of the children. And I'm fortunate to be the superintendent of this district, and to have the community that backs building the plane while flying, or landing on one engine sometimes. So we're very fortunate to be in the situation that we are in, Ken.
Well, during the past 2 years in my association with Armstrong, I've gone to school learning a lot about Oxford, Pennsylvania. I've been there on so many occasions. I would like to visit more, and I will as soon as the virus finally goes away. And I know that when you're saying that you have a wonderful community and a wonderful school district, I know that's true. And ladies and gentlemen, this superintendent didn't have to ask me to say that. I'm saying it just based on my experience in education and my experience of hopefully being an informed citizen in Pennsylvania. I live in Pennsylvania. And knowing what I know about Maryland, because I'm right on the Mason-Dixon line where I'm located. And so I've become a student of both Pennsylvania schools and Maryland schools. So, David, I guess I'm curious. When you get in your office in the morning, how many phone calls are on your voicemail waiting for you? How many emails are there waiting for you with various things to deal? Boil it down, I guess, let's put it this way. Is the community fairly understanding? Are they more or less in your corner? I know you can't please everybody. I know that's an impossibility. Even in good times, you can't please everybody.
By and large, yes, Ken. Most items come in through email, and because that's a 24/7 format. So it's not necessarily when I get into the office in the morning as much as because email is 24/7, where am I answering that email? Or where am I picking up that issue and that problem? But people do understand, and they will preface it with, I understand all the issues and the problems. However, they have an issue that needs to be solved, and we try to solve that issue. There's some things that over this time period from last March of 2020 until now, people didn't understand because the interworkings of the school district, and we're dealing with collective bargaining units and a myriad of other items. And those things aren't for the public digestion, let's say. But again, we've tried to be as transparent as we can with all issues. And really, we try to make sure that everyone gets an answer, whether that be an answer through an update to the educational program that we try to get out weekly right now. As a matter of fact, one will be going out internally today because there's no update for the stakeholders, but there's an update for our teachers and our support staff. But I think we've through our board meetings, through our public meetings. Matter of fact, over this summer, I held question and answer sessions before we launched our hybrid learning environment plan to try to answer those questions. And I think if I remember correctly, they were about 3 hours in length, and we answered about 1,200, or I answered about 1,200 questions each time, and we ran 3 or 4 of those, maybe 5 of those with different stakeholder groups. So it's been challenging, but I will say that people like myself, superintendents in this wonderful county that we have, Chester County in Pennsylvania, are supported. I'd be remiss without mentioning my colleagues, my fellow superintendents, the county health department, the county government that has supported and helped us all get through this with our sanity, at least most of our sanity.
Chester County is a lovely county, and David, don't tell anybody. So just between you and me, my middle name is Chester. Truly, it is.
Love it.
So, yes, yeah.
KC.
Yeah, my mother. Well, yeah, my father was Chester Kenneth. So instead of naming me Junior, it was Kenneth Chester. So I thank Mom and Dad for that. God bless you guys
Nice.
upstairs there. So listen, on a personal note, David Woods, how's your health and are you sleeping at night?
Absolutely. Health is the same as it was before the pandemic. I don't know if that's good or bad. I sleep pretty much the same. But if I do sleep well, it's because of all the support that I receive from my colleagues, from the community, and from the Board of School Directors. We have a really tight-knit team here administratively, and we have good teachers and good support staff, and we have an excellent Board of School Directors. So it makes it easy for me in this environment, and where maybe it shouldn't be as easy as it is. But I'm fortunate in that. Not everyone is as fortunate as that. Now, I'll tell you what, Ken, I'll also give you a shout out, and Armstrong a shout out to Maryland, because we have that partnership with Cecil College of Maryland, and with the Early College Academy, and Cecil College has made it very easy for the school district and our students that are involved there, because they're all virtual, but that program still exists. So shout out to Maryland and the Cecil College of Maryland for making that good for our students and good for the Oxford Area School District.
For the Dr. Bolt watching the show will appreciate your words very, very much. And I want to thank you.
Appreciate that. Kim Joyce and all of their people. Yeah.
And I want to thank you for being the type of interviewee where I just ask you one question and you would talk for the rest of the show. But that's just because you know your job, you know the material, you're not afraid to call it like it is, and I appreciate your honesty and laying it out there. And I'm sure that the viewers, especially those in the Oxford Area School District, appreciate you because of your competency and your heart, because you've got to love the kids in order to do a good job. And obviously that's the case with you. So David Wood, Superintendent of School, Oxford Area School District, thank you so very, very much. Stay healthy, stay socially distant, keep on wearing that mask of yours. Only you're messing up a little bit. The mask should have the Oxford Area School District name or logo on the front of the mask. You better attend to that. And David, I can't wait to talk to you again next time, hopefully in happier times and easier times for you and the entire Oxford area. So thank you, David Woods, for being with us here on Point. Well, once again, I can't thank you enough for spending time with me here. But what did we learn today? Well, we learned that in a school district, the superintendent has to have his pulse on what's going on. And that's exactly the case in the Oxford Area School District. David Woods is talking to everybody, all the stakeholders, to make sure that the students get the education that they really need, with the limitations, of course, that the virus is imposing on all of us. He has to deal with the teachers, the Board of Education, the students, the bus drivers, everybody, again, in this day and age of COVID. So, David Woods, thank you for being with us. And I'm Ken Kiedrowski, and you've been on Point.